Happy way. I just see you're. I'm glad you showed up today. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you pasted those eyes on or
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. Yes, I was doing a little thinking. The Purim, the drinking. Oh,
Speak a little quieter.
Got to be talk a little quieter now. The Rabbi just got here. That's why we're a little late today.
Hollering is great.
It's too bad. I was thinking, the drinking thing. I know I'm probably not like you. I know you went to one of those wild yeshivas when you were young. I went to a very high, and we talked about this before, high academic school. But even in this high academic school, we would take a break from studying. I was at the University of Alabama. So we would take a break from studying every once in a while back then, and we would do a little bit of drinking. And I was thinking, since the show is going to be about alcohol.
In Alabama, in the math course, it's like how many cans in a six-pack?
Well, no, it's usually how many goats you trade for a pig, but it's a different thing. But it's very similar. Very, very similar. I didn't make it up to the cans in the six-pack class. But I learned then, because I was in a fraternity, there was different kinds of drunks. So I was thinking about it last night. First, we had the guy who was I called him the Napoleon drunk. He was about 5 foot tall, right around there. He would go everywhere he'd go when he was drunk. He would get in a fight. No matter what, he would find somebody, bump into him, and fight. Never won a fight. And I'm talking not TKOs. I'm talking about real knockouts. This guy was knocked out every single night we went out. Then there was
But he kept coming back for more.
Always next week he was always back. Then there was I love you man drunk.
Yeah.
I love you man. You're my favorite. I'm gonna miss you. I love you. That drunk. I definitely was not that kind of drunk. Then we had a mean, nasty drunk. I'm talking about the guy that everybody stayed away from. The second he had a drink, he was just so mean and nasty.
Right.
You stayed away from him. And there was the sloppy, happy drunk. Got a lot of those people. Usually ended up carrying them. In fact, I had one story. I remember I used to drive home. He would always be in the back seat, but we just throw him in the back seat. You hit the brake, boom, you hear him fall into the ground. He was
Every time he got up, he knocked the table over.
Oh, absolutely. He was a great drunk. Then there was me. I like to call myself the brilliant drunk. Because this is how I remember it. Absolutely brilliant. Rashi, he would be jealous of my
just
brilliance.
like we're jotting down all of your.
Funny, and I know I had to be very funny because everybody was always laughing at me. So I know I had to be extremely funny.
Right.
Perfect drunk. And then I realized when you think about it, looking back, a lot of these drunk people, kind of is how they were. They were just in the extreme of what they were. The mean guy, he was actually kind of mean normally. The sloppy, happy guy, he was sloppy, happy. And the Napoleon guy, he was a little guy. He used to give, you like to get in fights. So maybe alcohol does bring out something deeper in us here. So that's why I want to see what the Torah says about alcohol. What does Judaism say about
let's
alcohol?
start off with that one. Too bad we don't have our board here, but I would give you the Hebrew letters. We talk about gematria,
Yep.
numerical values, right? Gematria.
Right.
So every letter has a numerical value. Aleph is 1, Base is 2, Gimel is 3, Yud is 10, so on and so forth.
Right.
Okay, so if you take the word yayin,
Yayin.
Yud, Nun, yayin. Yayin is wine.
Okay.
Wine is yayin.
Yayin.
It's
Alright.
interesting, right? So yayin, Yud, Nun. Yud is 10, and Yud is 10, and Nun is 50. So wine is, numerical value of the letters wine is 70. Okay? There's another word called sod, which is the secrets.
Okay.
Samach is 60. Sod, Samach is 60. Vav is 6. Dalet is 4. 68 and 6 and 4 is 70.
70, yeah.
Wine is 70. Secret 70. The Talmud says, put in the wine, the secrets come out.
I've seen that.
Okay? So, first of all, it does mean that, people have a tendency to talk too much and share secrets. But, really, if you want to find out the secret person inside, put in the wine, and out comes the secret person. So the nasty guy is nasty. Sometimes, maybe they might act a little polite, or it's kind of decent in company, but put in a little wine and the real him comes out.
Right, I've heard out about that.
The real person comes out, the real guy that's really, the life of the party comes out, and the mean guy comes out, and the emotional person comes in. It all put in the wine, and that's what you
And
get.
there's one thing, though, that's except in the rule. A woman with wine, it's always the same thing that comes out. That's not a good thing. A woman in wine. I add that there.
I'll tell you the truth.
It doesn't come out well.
That's the worst thing you can see.
Yes.
Drunken women's worst thing. I personally, one time, I went to a Falcons game, usually my friends turn me on to tickets, right? So usually, and I hang out with like nice friends, so they have tickets and good seats.
Right.
But one time someone gave me some tickets and they were up in the nosebleeds. So I was sitting up there in the nosebleeds and like the drunkenness was horrendous. And to tell you the truth, I could have tolerated the drunkenness and the foulness that comes out with all these drunks
Right.
from the guys.
So, it's the
But
worst.
they had women up there that were drunk and foul, and that was
Right.
just way too much for me. That was disgusting.
Yeah, I like that.
That was just really, I was puking. I didn't even drink. I was puking from looking at these kids.
So you've never watched the Jersey Shore, then? I guess that's pretty much every episode. I think that's what they have.
Really, I missed that.
That's a shame.
I missed that.
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem. But there's a lot more to it there. So then, if it is, oftentimes opens people up to so many things that the Torah is not really so clued into, because, yes, there is the secrets, but, here we are. We're just coming off of Purim.
Right. Right.
Purim was quite a party. And to tell you the truth, I must admit, even though my wife was standing there glaring at me the whole time, I must admit that it says that on Purim you're supposed to drink more than you are accustomed to.
Okay.
Okay? And on Purim, I must admit, it's like about the one time a year that I actually do get drunk. And I must admit, I actually had quite a good time yesterday.
Good. That's good.
Now maybe I woke up this morning and it wasn't such a good time, but I
By the way,
really.
which one of those drunks were you, by the way? You're the happy guy, or
So you know what? I tell you the truth. I was having a good time, and in the middle of it, I just remember thinking, like, "This is great. This is just the greatest party. I'm having a blast."
Right.
I loved it. And it says also in the Talmud that a person is supposed to get drunk until they don't know the difference between cursed is Haman and blessed is Mordechai. Well,
That's drunk.
that's drunk, and that's an instruction. That's how much you're supposed to get drunk. There's a lot of explanations to that, but it does seem kind of strange that the Talmud would have an instruction to get drunk.
Yep.
Is drinking good? Is drinking bad? They want you to be drunk. You're supposed to get drunk on Purim. And I guarantee you, in my house, we had a really nice party, and there's some people got drunk. Thank God. No one got messy. No one got obnoxious. It was really nice. But I've been at plenty of Purim parties, and all the various different personalities that you said were
They
there.
showed up.
And sometimes it gets kind of messy.
Yep.
So what is it? So we really got to go back to the Torah and find out, is the Torah for drinking or against drinking? Who's the first drunk in the Torah?
Well, Noah was probably the first guy.
Noah was the first
He
one.
didn't do well when he was drunk. Things didn't work out well for him.
Did not work out well for him. Now, he, of course, kind of like kept it to himself.
Right.
But his son came in and he didn't like that, and
Yeah, that
his
didn't
son
work
really
out.
messed him up.
Yep.
Right, that was pretty ugly.
Lot probably had about the same
Right.
situation
Plum?
going on too.
Okay, yeah. Lot, okay.
Didn't work out too well.
Lot had a bad episode
Yep.
with his daughters and
Right,
got a little
right.
drunk. Okay, so that one didn't work out too well. Let's see, do we have any other drunkenness in
The
Torah?
two sons of Aaron, that didn't work out real well with them either, though, did it?
Yeah, you had
That
the
wasn't-
two sons of
that
Aaron.
wasn't good.
They drank before they went into the temple, and God didn't like that and
That wasn't good. That
burnt them up right away. So it seems as though that you don't find a positive drinking story in the Torah. At least none that I can think of.
I'll keep thinking, but I don't know.
I can't think of anyone. Now, there were a couple of stories where some bad guys got drunk and we were able to, do bad things to them, but
Right.
still, you don't find like a bona fide
No, that's
good
true.
drinking story where anyone used drinking for something positive.
True.
So, what's the idea here? Like, why would the Torah want there to be drinking? Now, let's take a step back and talk about Nadav and Avihu. They're the two sons of Aaron.
Okay.
The question is, why? You got the two sons of Aaron. They're going to go in the temple for the first time ever. They're going to do the service. And they decide to drink. Like, what was that all about? Now, if you told me after they came out, they decided to have a drink. Okay, hey, that was great. Let's go have a drink.
Right.
But before they went in,
I guess they were looking for a different kind of experience, I would assume. But,
Right? I mean,
is that a good idea?
so they must have been looking for a heightened experience.
Right.
Even Noah. Like, what do you think Noah did? I mean, Noah was a pretty holy guy. Noah just wants to, like, go get drunk. It's like, it's all that's over. Finally got off that boat. Let's
Right.
tie one on. So we understand that Noah is a very holy man. Noah knew Methuselah. Methuselah knew Adam.
Right.
I mean, they're pretty connected. God certainly helped Noah get through this. He saved his life. God killed everyone else. Do you think Noah just wants to go out and get drunk? It's hard to
I
hear.
think there's got to be more to it than that.
There's something going on.
Yeah.
There's something going on. Obviously, there is a capacity. God created alcohol.
Right.
God created alcohol. There's no doubt about it. If God puts it in the world, and he created it, and not only that, we find that we Jews are commanded to utilize it
Right. In a lot of different instances.
all the time. Yeah, if anything holy is happening, there's got to be a cup of wine
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
Got to.
Absolutely.
Got to make a blessing. You get married, blessing. Friday night dinner, blessing over a cup of wine. Got to be a cup of wine.
Yeah.
Right? And even take it a step further, not just a cup of wine. At blessings, we even pour wine on the altar in the temple.
Well, that's true.
There's a special little tube, and they pour wine down it. It's one of the offerings we give to God. Wine, not grape juice,
Right.
not any other day. Wine specifically. Wine is really a holy thing, and not only that, wine has its own blessing. You know,
true.
every category of food has a blessing. Fruits,
You're right.
vegetables, grains, everything goes by category. The only two things have their own special blessing.
Wine and what? Bread?
Wine and bread
Yeah.
are the only two products,
Would have their own blessing. Yeah.
right? And wine is praised because, first of all, wine can bring out secrets, but not only that, wine can change your mentality, can change your frame of mind. So wine is very praiseworthy. Matter of fact, there's even one of the opinions of the Medrash says that wine was the tree of knowledge.
Oh, I didn't
It
know
was
that.
grapes.
I didn't know
It was
that.
a vine. It was grapes. They weren't supposed to eat from
yeah.
it, but they did eat from it. So it's pretty intense, right? So what's the idea? The idea is, and I can testify to this, the idea is, so can many, many other people, it does change your attitude.
It does.
Now, it all depends on what you want to use it for, where you're going with it, and how you use it. You know, how do you use it? So if a person wants to escape their experience, which many people do,
Right.
or if people are looking for a chance to be something other, like you talked about the little guy.
Yep. Yep.
He is always like, he walks around every day inside of him. He's thinking like, I'd like to walk up to those big guys and just tell them off.
Yep. No
But he
doubt.
doesn't have enough guts to. So what does he do?
Drinks a little bit.
Drinks
some
a little
guts.
bit. Oh, yeah, right. He drinks some guts, and
Right.
then they put his guts all over
Yeah,
the street.
exactly. That's how it works.
Right.
Yep.
He drinks some guts. And the same thing with other people. You know, like one guy's sitting there thinking like, oh, I just want to tell people I love them and I want to express my emotions, but I feel too inhibited to express my emotions. So I'm going to drink some courage and then I'm going to like spill out all my emotions all over the place, you know?
Wait. Are you trying to say that I'm really not funny? I'm not brilliant? Oh,
That's right.
that's kind of depressing. All right.
Right.
Go on.
And the guy that wants to get up there in front of everyone and lead the dancing,
Yeah.
you know, all the time he's sitting there thinking like, wow, I just love to be able to get up there and lead the
Right.
dancing. But he doesn't have enough guts. So he drinks
Yep.
and all that. Well, you know, what that's doing really doesn't help him out. Because what that person is really saying is that, you know, I'm having a hard time coping with life, so I want to take some drugs to help me deal with it.
Right.
So you have to ask yourself, but there could be some wine, and that wine would help a person actually get in touch with themselves in a good way
Right.
and really find out who they really are, right? But you have to decide that I want a good one, a good me to come out. Now, if let's say you're a person's walking around all the time, and you think, I'd really like to tell those people off. So maybe you're best off just keeping it to yourself.
Probably going to end up better, yeah.
Right. And maybe you're even better off working on not wanting to have to tell people off, not wanting to do crazy stuff, not wanting to just like wreck the whole place.
Right.
Not wanting to make an idiot of yourself in all those cases. But let's say you've got something that's really precious inside of you and you really want to express it. And sometime, I was telling a story, and it's a story that I feel very strongly about.
Right.
And sometimes, you drink a little bit and you tell that same story, and all of a sudden you feel like a rush of emotion.
No doubt.
When you tell it, you feel so much more intense about it. It's a story, it's something I believe in, it's important to me, but the importance is magnified. And I enjoyed the fact that I felt my emotions intensified. The same emotions that I like and I love and I appreciate and I believe are me, it just got so much more intense. And it was so enjoyable to be more intense. And that's what people like, to be more intense about something that you really are, you really believe in. I think that's what was going on with the Nadav and Avihu, the two sons.
They just wanted they feel more intense, or they just wanted to experience
They wanted to experience the intensity of the moment in a super intense way. So they didn't want to have like maybe any inhibitions holding them back from this peak experience. They wanted to be totally into the experience.
Get rid of the whole barriers of the whatever, and they wanted to experience that.
I want everything that this experience has. I want to sense it in every way, shape, or form. And we all have inhibitions. Yep. We're all afraid. We're all worried about what are people going to think. Blah, 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 blah. But if you got something, you want to go all in on it. And it's really precious. And this is a peak time. Like, for example, you're Nadav and Avihu. You are being invited by God to come bring the first offerings in the brand newly inaugurated temple.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
I mean, if you're Nadav and Avihu, you're probably saying, this is going to be, could very well be, the peak experience of my life. Right. And Nadav and Avihu said, and I want it all. I want every part of it. I don't want any restraint. I want it in my fingertips. I want it like throughout me. I want everything that this experience has to offer, and I want to give everything that is me to this experience. Right. Totally. Right. So they drank.
Is that good or bad?
God thought it was bad.
I mean, were they punished, or were they more just elevated out of their, out of their bodies into the next world?
Now, God thought it was bad. We are left with a question, and it is exactly what was bad about it.
Okay.
Now, we have two bits of evidence. Number one is that God says to them, God burnt them up.
That's not good.
Obviously wasn't happy.
That's not good.
Because God just like a fire came down and they were gone.
Right.
Immediately afterwards, God says to Aaron, teach your children, never come drunk into the temple.
Yeah.
Now, we don't even know if they were drunk. We know they drank. We don't even know if they were drunk. God says you can't even drink. It's like the pilots,
Right.
Like pilots, it doesn't matter. Like if a pilot has one drink, he can't fly.
That's it.
And not supposed to fly.
Right.
Unless he's like, I think they just recently got some guy got on the plane drunk or something.
That happens though. Sometimes he flies better when he's drunk.
Right.
So I understand that. But
right. Or the guy that was flying a flight to Minneapolis and he was, checking his email or something. He didn't find out till he was crossing North Dakota. So, wait, you got a map?
Probably not.
Anyone got a map? He map quested Minneapolis. Yeah. Right. So, so we didn't even know if they got drunk, but they just drank, and that was already bad. Right. There is another thing, though, which is that it says that they took the fire and they lit the fire themselves.
Right.
And God had intended to light the fire himself. It was going to divinely just start. And they lit it themselves. The two of them could be linked. It could be that because they drank it got them a little too loose,
So
and they went a little too much for the peak experience.
Right.
And could be.
I've seen that happen as well. They're looking at Piggy, some guy going to a concert. I say Jerry was going to play Ripple, that thing, so they wanted to experience that entire peak. So they might have inebriated themselves a little too much, and
With Ripple.
with Ripple, right? So things could have worked out bad.
Right.
So, there's a lot of people still reaching for that peak. I think is
That's right.
Sometimes you just go a little too far.
That's right. Now, the classic example of bad liquor is, like you said, Lot and his daughters.
Yeah.
Now, they knew they thought they needed to commit incest with their father.
Got him drunk.
They got him drunk. Now, the truth is, they criticized Lot, not for the first night,
That's right. The second was
but
probably
the second night. The second,
realizing there was an issue. I think.
right. Now, okay, he could have been forgiven for making that mistake once, but to drink the second night.
That was a problem.
So basically there you had a case of inhibitions.
Right.
And they just needed to get over it. And they were utilizing the alcohol to get past some healthy inhibitions, because inhibitions are healthy.
Okay, but let's just give an example. There's the people out there that, like they say, they're shy or they're having inhibitions, and when they drink a little bit, they're less shy. Then the real them can really come out. Is that
Right.
bad? I mean, that's sort of what Aaron's sons were thinking as well.
Right.
But is that bad?
Right, so
Until you drink too much, but yeah.
that's right. Or until you realize that you can't have the peak experience
Okay.
without the drink, and then that's a problem.
I think that usually is where the problem goes.
Right.
Yes.
So that's why it says, one of them, it says that the drinking on Purim, a person is supposed to drink more than they are accustomed to.
Right.
More than they're accustomed to, and until they don't know the difference between cursed is Haman and blessed is Mordecai. Right yesterday at the beginning of the party, so I was talking about something, and I said, so the king, so I said Mordecai, so he said, it's the king elevated Mordecai, and Mordecai wanted to kill the Jews. And then everyone said, no, it's Haman. And I went, oh, okay,
There.
done. Bye-bye, everyone, let's go.
You were there early. I like that.
Yeah, right. I mean, we went like 5 minutes into the party, and I already like,
Perfect.
I said, okay, guys, you can all go home,
We were
Like,
there.
for me, I'm leaving. I'm
Okay.
done. So, what's the idea? And many have been the explanations of this. But there's one thing that we all have to realize, that when God wants the Jewish people, when he put them in trouble, so Haman is working for God also. Because
Right.
everybody's working for God.
Right.
Nobody's working against God.
Right.
Even though they think they are, everybody's working for God, even though some people think they're working for God, and some people think they're working against God, but everybody's working for God, because God doesn't let anybody work against him.
Makes sense.
So whatever you want, he's going to use you for his advantage. And Haman is also working for God. And what Haman did helped bring the Jewish people back to where they needed to be, back to their senses, to understand that God's there for them and all that. And then sometimes it takes a Haman to bring it out. Sometimes it takes us. We got to be in a more positive frame of mind. And sometimes you have a drink, it can put you in a positive frame of mind. If, when you pick up that drink and you're ready to drink it, I'm drinking this for the purpose of being in a positive frame of mind. I'm drinking this for the purpose of seeing, looking more charitably, of being a better person, of understanding what's really good in life. If you do that, now, most people are drinking because they want to get bombed out of their mind
Right.
and get down like a dog.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Well, okay, if you want to do that, then
Different thing.
that's, yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question though. It was a great explanation you just made there. Would that argument work with the Georgia State Patrol, by the way? That's just always one. I'm trying to get into a better state of mind. Would that work on your drive home or no?
Yeah, you know what happened? Like last night at the end of the party, so we get up from the table, and I said, all right, first of all, we got lots of beds here. Anyone wants to sleep over,
Right.
plenty of place for you. Second of all, who here, if anyone needs a ride home, I'm sure there are people here that can drive. So who can drive? So a bunch of people raised their hand. I said, you mean you guys all need rides? They said, no, we can drive people. I said, you can drive people? Forget it. Sit back down. There's
not the right
way
people.
too many people here that can drive people home. I don't want to see that. So
Better
you
start
guys
getting
didn't
the
drink
party
enough.
going.
Right. We're ending way too early. If
That
there's
makes
this many
sense.
people can drive people home, I'm disgusted with you guys. Sit
I
down.
like that. That's a good party.
Right.
That's a
It's
real
horrible,
party.
man.
Right. So that's
I
good.
said you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Wait, this is Purim.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Please. But you got to reach that inner you and have that experience. And this is so many times you see people, so many beautiful things. Heard lots of really nice things from some people. Very few not so nice things from people. But we made it really, really clear, and I reiterated it a number of times. This was our event was sponsored by the TSA.
TSA. Which TSA?
The TSA, the Torah Song and Alcohol Association. Right.
Heard.
That was
They're
it.
less touchy people.
Right, that's right. So, very uninvasive,
Right.
and they can just,
Right.
so Torah, song, and alcohol. And we made it very clear that's what it's all about. But, sadly enough, there's a lot of people that are looking to do other things. And so there's good alcohol and bad alcohol. It's kind of like Haman and Mordechai,
I guess that's true.
right?
I guess that's true.
You can take something, and you can take Haman, could be bad, and Haman could be good. It all depends how you want to look at him, how you want to understand him.
Now, obviously, there are alcoholics. There are people that have issues with alcohol. Obviously, I assume you would not recommend them drinking on Purim or any
No,
other events because
no,
they can't control the situation.
Right, that's really right. And there's certainly, there's Jewish alcoholics, there's Orthodox Jewish alcoholics, and there's, Orthodox Jewish alcoholics that drink religiously, and,
good.
and all that is bad.
Right.
And that's not trying to bring out any inner good. That is really, in most cases, trying to escape or living in reality.
I think I'm probably a good portion of drinking is escaping in one way. Now, even if it is the person that gets rid of a little bit of his inhibitions, that's kind of escaping
Yes.
your inhibitions.
Well, yes, but there's, there's running away from and running to.
Okay.
Right? And there's a lot of people that they'd like to say something, they'd like to express something, they'd like to feel something.
Do it.
Right? Like how many people come and they'll see singing or dancing, and they really feel that is so attractive. I'd really like to be able to get up and dance, but I can't do it. And they find if they have a drink, they can get up and dance.
Right.
So, there's something good to that. There's something nice about that. But if they find, and hopefully after they find that they can get up and dance, they'll see next time they'll be able to get up and dance even without it.
That's the hope.
Yeah. But it's a beautiful thing. It's a powerful thing. It can actually change people's reality. And because it's a powerful thing, it can be powerfully
It
negative.
can be dangerous as well, which makes it. Now, does the Torah ever mention moderation? Does the Torah discuss moderation at all? I mean, because I know that's what we're talking about here, but does it say that?
The Torah doesn't really say anywhere about doing things in moderation. I think that it's understood that when the Torah says something like to have a drink, that you're supposed to have a drink,
Right.
or 4 cups of wine at the
Right.
Seder or whatever it is, but it's prescribed, and you're not supposed to be doing it by way of like imbibing some type of drug. You're supposed to do it under prescribed circumstances. And that's where Nadav and Avihu came in. God says, I got nothing against you drinking, but I didn't tell you to. And when I don't tell you to and you do, that's not right.
Okay, well, then I guess the last question is, because it kind of leads into that, I understand where you're going, but then what about drugs? What about drugs? Because again, some people would say smoking marijuana would make them a little bit less inhibited. Some people would say doing other drugs really brings out their personality.
Right.
Is it the same rules here? Because I don't remember one blessing where you do a blessing
No.
or you didn't smoke something.
There is no religious use of drugs except for something very interestingly one of the ingredients in the incense is listed as Kenei Bosem.
Oh.
Kenei Bosem.
Similar to
Sound like
cannabis
anything?
there.
Sound like
right.
anything similar to you?
Yeah.
Kenei Bosem, which literally means Kenei or stalks of fragrance, fragrance stalks.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's Kenei Bosem. And not everyone is sure that it's talking about cannabis, but some say it is. However, interestingly enough, it was used in the incense. It was used as a mix with one of 16 different things to create incense. It wasn't meant to be inhaled.
Right.
It was meant for its aroma should
So
add
Clinton
something.
would have been okay with that.
Right, that's right.
Because he
That's
did
right.
not inhale. So
Right,
it's good, okay.
that's right. That was when I decided never to vote for that guy. Couldn't stand the guys that didn't inhale. If you don't want to
Right.
inhale, don't do
If you're
it.
going to do it anyway, why
Right.
waste all that?
No respect for those people.
I agree. I agree
Right.
with that.
But there's no, to the best of my knowledge, there is no religious use or even recreational use, because I think all of those drugs generally prevent people from focusing on the service of God. Right?
That would make
Usually,
sense, yeah.
they do the drugs, and then they need to go off and be into their head for a while.
Right.
And they're not, no one, you never find people that are on drugs, they're helping other people, they're doing other people. Certainly they're not focused.
Right.
Many times they're hurting other people, but you don't see anything positive to it.
There we go. That makes sense.
Other than makes people feel good inside their head.
Right. Interesting. All right. So this is good discussion. I don't know if this would be your discussion would work at the 12-step program. I think if you came out there and give your whole talk about drinking here and there, they might not like it. But other than
Well,
that,
maybe if they had it beforehand. And you know,
Right,
a lot
that's
of
a good
people,
point.
a lot of people in the 12-step program, and a lot of people that have alcohol problems, drug addictions. Some of those people are predisposed to it. They have genetic predisposition to not being able to maintain a moderation. So some people like that. So if a person's got a physical problem with it, well,
Can't do
for
it.
sure, you know, there's no way you can do it.
all right. Well, it's already 1 o'clock here in the East Coast, so let's have a drink.
Yeah,
I think that's what
that's happy hour.
we're going to head off and have a drink here, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
This is a happy
All
hour.
right. All right. See you next week.